Welcome. The following presentation will provide you with preliminary information to prepare you for upcoming PBIS professional learning for PBIS Advanced Tiers teams. PBIS is a tiered framework that focuses on the whole school environment to help the vast majority of students be successful, but also provides a continuum of support for those who need more. Thus far, we have focused on Tier 1 practices, creating a foundation for advanced tiers. 80 to 90% of our students should have their needs met by Tier 1 practices that are implemented with fidelity. Some examples of Tier 1 behavioral supports include classroom counseling lessons that are planned and taught based upon needs of the building, grade level, or at the classroom level. Responsive classroom morning meetings and closing circles through which expectations and procedures are taught and reinforced. Also, SEL lessons aligned with behavioral expectations such as respectful, responsible, safe, and are embedded within the academic lesson or are taught explicitly by the teacher. Some schools have decided to teach zones of regulation to all students, and the use of these new strategies for self-management, which are reinforced building-wide. When planning for implementation of Tier 2 interventions, it's important that we continue to monitor fidelity of Tier 1, as we know that fidelity at the Tier 1 level will increase success at Tiers 2 and 3. Tier 1 includes practices such as clearly defining 3 to 5 behavioral expectations and using school-wide and classroom matrices as a system of teaching, reteaching, and reinforcing expected behaviors, using data monthly to review school-wide behavior and to problem solve, and maintaining a two-way system of communication with our stakeholders where we not only deliver information to them, but we also ask for and use their feedback. PBIS classroom practices are a part of our Tier 1 foundation. PBIS practices, along with the reinforcement of SEL skills for all, provides that foundation for student well-being and the development of supportive learning environments. Ensuring fidelity of all classroom practices is one way to strengthen and modify Tier 1 support. You can find these resources in ClassLink using the icons found here on your screen. We recognize that some students will need additional supports layered on top of those universal supports. Interventions and supports get more intense as students move up the triangle. There will be more time invested by teachers and family members, and we will collect more data. Tier 2 interventions are designed to support those students whose needs are not being met by Tier 1 universal supports. It is a small percentage of our overall student body, usually 5 to 15% of students, who will require Tier 2 support. There are common goals of Tier 2 interventions. They are to provide additional opportunities for SEL skill development and the reteaching of expectations and replacement behavior, to provide increased opportunities for feedback, to prevent problems from getting worse, to provide a continuum of supports, to identify and support students who are at risk for not meeting behavioral expectations, to provide sufficient and appropriate interventions. And one of the most important but often overlooked goals is to regularly progress monitor and make decisions based on data. A good question to ask is, how can we provide opportunities for reteaching expectations and replacement behaviors. Consider what Tier 2 options are available in your building to support behavior and social-emotional learning. When identifying Tier 2 supports, determine how the effectiveness of each intervention is being measured. If we are not measuring for student success, how will we know if the intervention is successful in supporting groups of students? Some examples of Tier 2 support in VBCPS have included counselor groups, mentoring programs, book clubs, lunch bunch, Anchored for Life, the Choices program for secondary schools, or groups such as Shine Girls or Men of Distinction, and many more. Within the PBIS framework, there is also check-in, check-out. If you haven't previously used this specific intervention, you may be wondering, what is check-in, check-out? A large part of the Advanced Tiers professional learning that your team will receive in the coming school year will focus on the coordination of this intervention. Check-in, check-out is an evidence-based support for students who may need more positive adult attention and structured feedback in order to be successful in school. Check-in, check-out is an additional layer of support for some students. It provides daily organization and behavioral support, a systematic means of giving feedback to students, a high rate of adult attention, and a communication link between school and home. Students who are displaying frequent problem behaviors across numerous settings are often successful in the check-in, check-out intervention. Keep in mind, however, check-in, check-out is not a traditional mentoring program. It is not an individualized behavior intervention plan, nor is it a disciplinary consequence. It is extremely important that check-in, check-out is a positive experience for the student to give them the opportunity to improve their social behavior. So who may benefit from check-in, check-out? As you look at the boxes here labeled appropriate and inappropriate, notice who may benefit from check-in, check-out and who may not. We see more success with check-in, check-out with students who display low-level problem behaviors that may be recurring in the classroom, 2 to 5 referrals or fewer, behavior that occurs across multiple locations rather than isolated events. Examples of these types of behavior are talking out, lack of work completion or engagement, and especially students seeking adult attention. So what does check-in, check-out look like? Check-in begins in the morning with a facilitator at the beginning of the school day before the academic day begins. The facilitator will have a specific and short conversation with students about their daily progress. Teachers will provide verbal feedback, known as behavior-specific acknowledgement and/or error correction, throughout the day using the student's daily progress report. Check-out happens with a facilitator at the end of the school day before the student is dismissed. This video shows an example of the check-in, check-out process with the facilitator, along with feedback given throughout the day by the classroom teacher.
As a classroom teacher, you may have the opportunity to have students involved in a Tier 2 intervention called check-in, check-out. Check-in, check-out gives adults the opportunity to teach expectations for behavior in a focused and deliberate way so that students who have demonstrated a need for more support and learning desired school behaviors will have multiple chances for feedback to focus their learning. Let's take a look at a non-example to start.
Ugh, why are you bringing this paper? I don't have time for these points. Go get back to
Why
work.
do you not tell me?
I just don't have time to talk about this. Responsibility, respect, silliness. You know how kids are supposed to act at school.
When giving feedback for check-in, check-out, teachers need to be sure that they are giving this feedback in a one-on-one and possibly a private setting. In addition, it needs to be specific to the student and to the expectations they are working on. It needs to be done in a timely manner at each time period that your school has established. It also needs to encourage next steps for the students so that their behavior has a chance to improve during the next time block. Let's see if we can try this again.
Responsible. Were you being safe during that time? Okay, how were you being safe?
Not hurting nobody.
Okay, so keeping your hands to yourself. What else? Were you roaming around the room? No, what were you doing?
I was trying to listen to the book while you were telling me to keep saying reading the books.
Okay, good. So you're keeping your hands and legs to your seat and you were staying seated, right? Following directions. Okay, so I would agree with that. So you get a 1 for respectful, 2 for responsible, and 2 for safe. All right, we're gonna try to next hour work on that respectful and not call out, but make sure we raise our hand and wait, okay?
I want you to notice that the teacher used 4 important strategies when giving feedback. The first was that she used the school-wide expectations to drive her conversation with the student. The second is that she involved the student and asked for input. The third is that she was able to give behavior-specific praise during the feedback, which is a very important component of a successful check-in, check-out program. The teacher also gave the positive opposite of behavior that needed to be worked on, not just pointing out errors, but giving a suggestion for moving forward. You may be wondering what happens when your student goes to check in the morning or check out in the afternoon with their facilitator. Here are some examples of checking out at the end of the day so that you have a better understanding of what types of things the facilitators will be working on with your students.
What was our goal today? Okay, so did we make the goal? Did we get pretty close? Okay, I want you to tell me right here you got these ones. What were you not doing to strive to be your best?
Well, when I was with Miss Sunny, I was just like rocking in the chair.
Okay.
She thought I was like not too striving, but I was working respectfully and
Okay, but do you understand how to us that could look like you weren't doing your best? So what should you do next time? When you find yourself doing something like this, what should we do?
fix myself.
Sure, of course. Very good. So we didn't make our goal, but I'm very proud that you got close. Here's your dolphin for being responsible and coming down here. You hold that.
Is here, right? So 8 times 2 is
16.
16. Oh, the smiley face. 7. Oh, we have another 8. 8 times 3 is
I forgot. At least I got odd twos though.
8, 16, 20.
That's your responsibility. That's
4.
what Miss Jefferson.
All right, 7 times 2 is
14.
14. And then we have 5 and 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Add it up.
I worked everything.
8. So
You did? Okay, good.
we got 2, 3, 4.
You got 48 points today, and your goal was 47. All right, so remember we were talking about your afternoons were starting to drop off. So tell me what you did right here today, because look at that.
I just paid attention.
You were paying attention, so you were showing the teacher respect. All right, tell me something else.
I wasn't talking.
And that's caring about your community and respect. So great job. That's what you have to do to reach your goal. 48 points. You showed respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And caring. Great job. And would you like to stamp your card? What are we at today? 10. You're so close to your next level. Great job, man. You think we can go up to 48 tomorrow? We've been on 47. I think you're ready. Thank you for coming here and being responsible. Have a great day. You're welcome.
The check-in, check-out Tier 2 intervention at your building will give your students the skills to increase desired behaviors by providing increased adult monitoring, increase opportunities for positive reinforcement, as well as increased practice with the behaviors on your school matrix. When this is combined with continuous data monitoring and a supportive Tier 2 team, it will create a safety net for students who need additional support around behavior to allow more time for shaping academics.
Some important questions for your team to consider before Advanced Tiers training. Who will coordinate the check-in, check-out intervention? And who will progress monitor for student success? These staff members will play an integral role on your school's PBIS Tier 2 team. So what is the role of the Tier 2 team? The Advanced Tiers decision-making team reviews data, analyzes trends on how students are responding to check-in, check-out, and monitors intervention effectiveness. Consider who's already a part of this type of decision-making at your school. For example, ILT team members, administrative team, grade level chairs, SRT, etc. You'll also want to consider several critical roles. You should ensure that there is at least one administrator, a team lead or coordinator for Tier 2 interventions, along with members who have behavioral expertise with knowledge of community resources, a data analyst, and other team members with knowledge of students at your school. Research has found that an administrator is an important part of the team because they have the ability and authority to allocate resources. They have administrative authority. They have knowledge about school operations across grade levels, content areas, and programs. The team lead or coordinator organizes and oversees Tier 2 interventions. Some schools have had success using the following staff members as team student support specialist for secondary schools, reading or math specialist, the GRT, your school counselor. This individual, along with the Advanced Tiers team, will be responsible for training staff and orienting students and families to the check-in, check-out process. Other suggested team members should also have behavioral expertise. It's also advantageous to think about having at least one member from the Tier 1 team to join the Advanced Tiers team so that relevant data can be shared between the teams. Please talk to your PBIS coach if you have questions regarding Advanced Tiers teaming. We hope the information that was shared with you today has offered you some necessary information to help you prepare for the upcoming Advanced Tiers professional learning. Prior to attending the Advanced Tiers professional learning, school leaders should determine who will be part of the Advanced Tiers team. Usually, this team is made up of 3 to 5 people, including an administrator. All attendees should register for the Advanced Tiers professional learning in Frontline. On behalf of the PBIS Division Coaching Team, we look forward to seeing you all in the coming months at Advanced Tiers training.